So to begin, our country's agricultural system is highly flawed and corrupted. Currently, it's strictly advanced the growth of powerful companies and doesn't support local businesses and places the American people at a disadvantage. The way that this twisted system was able to be created and maintained was through mass consumerism, powerful companies, and low education in how the system works. A common mentality is being able to get whatever you want, whenever you want, and for example, like pineapples in February, and that's not sustainable. The mentality of this was shown to me through Barbara Kingsolver's book, and a quote I have is, "We've become accustomed to the botanically outrageous conditions of having everything always." Through her book, Animals for Miracle, and the main problem I see through the system is our way of thinking. In the book, she explains the reasoning behind becoming a farmer for her entire family for a year and completely being self-fed. It was to get out of the unhealthy habits in today's agricultural system, and her solution is not always realistic, but it is possible for her, and it shows that to eat local is a possibility, and it shouldn't happen. So, another guest speaker we have is Lynn Dugaway, that's all right, but it says, her quote, "Failure can alert us that change needs to happen," and for my family specifically, I definitely think organic is good, but like locally is even better, and it's just an easy switch for my family specifically. And okay. My next point is about fossil fuels, and I have a quote also from an alleged miracle, but from her husband, which is the co-author. It says, each food item in a typical U.S. meal has traveled an average of 1,500 miles. And that's an unimaginable amount of fuel, energy, and resources to transport food. For your neighborhood grocery store to get all of that fruit, vegetables, etc. that it requires for your consumption, it needs to travel from places that it's grown, which wasn't nearby. Corn from Mexico, for example, was flown, shipped, packaged, and driven all the way to King Soopers down the road. The earth does not have enough gas, oil, or energy to support and the demand of fossil fuels that the world industry requires. And the food industry isn't making the consumers a priority. For this industry, it's all about getting the most profit, the least quality product. For this industry, I see that as an issue, and eating local is a chance to take yourself out of that system, and it keeps the money that you normally would spend at a big supermarket in your community, and it's healthier, and it creates relationships between you and the grower. Here we go. My next point is about monocropping and soil deprivation, and in this agricultural system, in order to produce the high quantity needed for the most profit, there are shortcuts taken and there are compromises made. Specifically with the quality of food that is being grown, time is not of the essence, so the shorter amount of time it takes to get a higher yield, the better it is for the system. And GMOs and pesticides like Roundup are being used prevalently to kill pests and control the outcome of the crop and make the most money. The biggest mistake of this system is that it's killing the soil. Without healthy soil, you can't grow healthy food. And it's the main and most important factor if you're going to grow anything. And a solution to all of these problems I see is permaculture. So permaculture provides convenience for the grower. It also creates a sustainable system. Rather than monocropping using pesticides, fertilizers, and other unhealthy methods for growing, permaculture is an alternative to all of that. So all of the nutrients needed in a productive crop, so something that's actually growing and you don't need to like manipulate it, is you just need to place the correct elements, I think. And so like pollinators, nutrient fixers, and beneficial insects. And a key to that is relative placement in a permaculture design, because it can either kill your plants or help them tremendously. So the thing that I tried to do in my design was to recreate a natural environment and to reduce competition as much as possible between your plants is important as well. And also to maximize the potential beneficial relationships between plants. For example, tomatoes grow tall and they can be a shade to other plants that don't need as much sun. Native species have evolved and adapted, so I think that's important, especially in Colorado, to have in your design, or even in any kind of system, is to just have it already is adapted to it. And in Colorado, there are many species that already have been grown here forever, like cacti. I didn't know that, but now I do. Competition in plants is when they go against each other for limited resources like water, sun, and nutrients, and the dominant plant usually takes over, and the lesser plant unfortunately dies. Keystone species are plants or animals that play a key role in the ecosystem. All the species in the ecosystem are interconnected, but the keystone species is the dependent upon the most. So it's like, come on in the situation. If the species were to be removed, the ecosystem would be extremely unbalanced. And 3 species that are important to understand as much as possible to create the most productive and healthy permaculture design. Okay, before I can start talking about my design, I want you guys to know just a few basic terms and types of plants. So permaculture, perennial plants are plants that live for more than 2 years, so it's 2 growing cycles. Annual plants only live for 1 growing season, so just 1 year. Biannual plants need several years to complete a growing cycle, so asparagus needs 3 years. And shades are considered weeds, but are more like potatoes, and are annuals. Cover crops are plants that are used for soil fertility, soil quality, weeds, biodiversity, and pest control. Okay. This is also another quote from Robert Kinsolver about permaculture goals, and that's pretty relevant. Our highest shopping goal was to get our food from so close to home we know the person who grew it. And here I go. Okay, so my next thing for you all are my maps for my personal permaculture design in my home, my property. This is my base map, very clean. This is a zone map, so zone maps are just basically types of areas in my house. I have 6 zones, it's kind of plenty, but it's because I have a big property, I have an acre and a half. The house was zone 1 I considered to be the pavement, because you can't do anything with pavement. And then more important zones are zone 4, which is the biggest, because it's flat and it's all just grass. And it's almost perfect for growing. And zone 5 is a wild zone, because my family never goes out there, and it's kind of creepy and dark, a lot of trees. My sector map here, sector maps are just the elements that are in my property, like sun, water, shade, wind. I get a lot of sun on the zone 4 area, so this is south, so south facing, all of that gets a lot of sun. And then there's a few existing trees on this side, so it's all shade. And more importantly, my min and max map. My min map is, I kind of just incorporated already existing elements, so the fruit trees I have on the fence line, like apples and plums and stuff, I wouldn't take those down, I would just keep them. And I have a patio, but it's closed in and it's brick. And there's pictures of all of this. There you go. So here I put a greenhouse, and back here, zone 4, since we never really everywhere back there, I put bees and stuff. And so my max map, the most important, I would have. It's very busy. Crop rows. And the thing about crop rows I want to mention is that watering is a major problem, and it's probably the most important thing to take into consideration. And realizing that in my design, I decided to put irrigation sprinklers, just like in 63rd Street Farm, which was visited as a class. And 63rd Street Farm they use the irrigation sprinklers to reduce the amount of water that they use, and also the amount of water that they need to use. So if they water, it stays there, it doesn't just run away, it's useful. And it's directly absorbed to the crop rows. And I have obviously fruit trees, I have an orchard for the chickens to, eat there. And I would have the grapevines going here, there's a lot of empty area. I have a forest garden back here, and all of my information from these slides. So back here, I kind of made the beehive a bit smaller than that over here, but it's a huge area that I can have a forest garden. And specifically with the forest garden, they have high yields, self-sustains, creates a healthy ecosystem, and regenerates and mimics nature. I would need a nitrogen fixer like alfalfa, pollinators like bees, high canopy tray, layer like a tree, bushes or berries, and finally a weed protector. So in this area, I would plant chive, apple tree, comfrey, and squash. And with all of that, I need to take into also consideration that it gets a lot more shaded, so it's going to be like a microclimate, and it can't really grow like something that would need a lot of sun, because it's pretty shaded out there. And continuing that, I have garden beds placed all along like my house, and with those, they're really easy for like to make your own food in Colorado, because it's like a little area that is controlled, it's boxed in. And main priority is for them to stay warm. They're going to grow all year round. And the plants in my garden bed need to attract pollinators, beneficial insect, avoid pests, and be productive. And I would grow. Like in this one over here. I would do like beans, peppermint, peas, carrots, which are all annuals. And peppermint, I just had to put in there because it's the only perennial, but it would work well. It would be like a companion plant. It would help them, be beneficial. And another bed had like sunflowers, lettuce, onions, and sage, which are nitrogen fixers. Sunflowers attract gray insects, and they're all annuals. And another one is, hypothetically, I would do mint, parsley, marigold, and dill. Specifically with dill, it's like butterflies, and like they attract bees and wasps and beetles, which is really great. But my greenhouse, I would do Mediterranean, and it's a great idea for the winter because it can stay warm enough for the atmosphere to like remain healthy, and that's like in that environment because it's closed in, bricked, flat. And I would grow, hypothetically, not really going to do this, tomatoes, basil, peppers, all annuals, and tomatoes are nightshade, and then figs, pomegranates, and pears, which I would not be able to grow in a greenhouse or in a garden bed. And finally, oh yeah, this is just my property pictures. I wanted to show you where is it? Oh, here you go. That's where I would put the compost, because they're preparing my land, like the entire property. But to conclude, I took everything that we've learned from like the get-go, from the beginning, from Barbara Kingsolver, from just all the field trips, all of the readings and everything that we've done, and I took all of it and kind of placed all of those information and all that into my design, and that's it. Any questions?
All right. Take a second to think of some questions. We should have a few questions for each person. Stop.